All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride. You've got nothing to lose.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss.
All right, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. This week we are going Refocused with Peter Criss's Out of Control album from 1980. But before we get down to brass tacks on that subject, we do have some news. Ace Frehley, obviously, is the big headline in Kiss world today, having suffered a fall this week at his studio, forcing the cancellation of last night's show. I think that was Lawndale, California, or somewhere down there. LA. So best wishes to Ace for a speedy recovery, man. Slow it down a bit. You don't need to be speeding back to anyone these days at 74. Take it easy. Take care of yourself. And, just here's to a full and speedy recovery and getting taken care of whatever you need and how you need it. The Kiss Army's thoughts and prayers, whichever, are with you. So all hail the spaceman as we prepare to talk about the Catman today. Other news this week is Kiss Halloween products are now up. It's hit and miss as always, depending on people's tastes. Go check them out. See if there's anything that you like. That jean t-shirt inspired by the Alive 2 cover is absolutely majestic in my opinion. I wouldn't spend $45 on it. Majestic, but it looks good. Some of the other things as well may catch your fancy, and if they do, more power to you, and if they don't, keep the wallet closed. Easy. Scroll on by, as they say. Also going live this week was Audio Odyssey chapter number 6. We are very close to talking about the actual music on the album. It's being written right now. I had to cut most of it out of that episode just to talk about the transformation of the project. So that's kind of the last dense episode before we talk music and production and all sorts of instrumentation and whatnot. So I hope you'll join me for that. Podcast Rock City episode the other night. Joe Polo, Joe, you of the #1 podcast in the universe, did suggest or hint that there was something coming. Well, there is always something coming. There are asteroids flying around the universe. There are comets. Is it something that we're going to like? That's another matter. So I guess he knows that something is coming, and what it may be, well, I guess we'll find out as the time comes. All right, let's go into the mailroom. Anyone get anything this week? I did get a package in for Japan that had been broken in half by FedEx. Thank you so much, FedEx. The CDs survived. I just picked up and these aren't Kiss related, but because everyone knows I did an Aerosmith book, I did pick up the new remasters of Permanent Vacation and Night in the Ruts that came out previously. Each of them just have a few bonus tracks on them, and I just want to A-B with other sources for those ones. That applies now to most of the catalog for Aerosmith. Ken, did you get something interesting this week?
I did. It took me about a year, but after a year, I finally got my hands on the Kiss Animalize 40th anniversary picture disc. And it's probably, and it's the cover is supposed to be some kind of fur. It has a different, I don't know what it is. It's a different texture to it to give it this fur.
So Ken is now officially a furry,
and it came with, of course, the poster, double-sided poster, which is pretty actually cool. Yeah, I'll show you.
And I think you're wearing the Animalized T-shirt, aren't you?
That one, yeah. And I got that's true. I did. I got the T-shirt too. So not bad. And the inside, people have probably seen the picture disc already. So it's a double-sided picture disc. So anyway, I finally got it after took a year, but I got it.
Good. Well, glad to hear that. So, no, Mark's not available this week. He had another podcast conflict come up that he had to take advantage of that one rather than
more important than ours, I guess.
More important than us today, and that's
wow.
just how it goes. Whether it's life for Lonnie or whatever, that's simply the way it goes.
He's gonna hear about that next week.
Oh, he will, but I'm sure he'll
Yep.
catch
Yeah.
up on that. What was the other question? Oh yeah, Andrew. Yeah, what did I see this week? I got to see an advance very work in progress screening of From Tokyo to You, Andrew's new project.
Oh,
And I got to say this as someone who's watched his work since the beginning and over
Yeah.
the years, it absolutely blows my mind the next level that he has stepped up to with this new project. It's not relying on reimagining something that exists. This is new and original content. And kudos to him. I can't wait to see the final one when the time comes for that, because I think fans are going to be very excited by what he's created here. So it was a very exciting screening. Yeah. So I'll leave that there. All right. So we are going to be talking about the 45th anniversary of the first Kiss, or the first post Kiss solo project, which was, of course, Peter Criss releasing Out of Control in September 1980. The dates, of course, vary for the release date. I can't remember what did I put in mask area. September the 8th was its 45th anniversary, and over the years, it's gotten some stick as a Peter Criss record, but I really wanted to dig into this one more because of what it means to me than anything else. But let's just go around the table for everyone. Daniel, do you recall your first encounter with Out of Control, and what were your thoughts on it the first time you listened to it on the whole?
Well, this was a very late record for me. I think I might have gotten a copy in the maybe late 90s or something. Never, I wasn't too fond of it, but I think mostly because I didn't give it a chance. I didn't really like the Peter Criss solo album from '78, and this was, when I first listened to it, it felt like, more of the same. However, as I grew older, I started to appreciate it more and more, much like the '78 record. And I think when you're a teenager and you want, energy and metal, this just didn't work for me. But in later years, I started to appreciate it a whole lot more. And I did an episode on a different podcast about this record like a year or two back, and I really, really listened to it, and I got kind of hooked on it. So these days, I really appreciate it. I think it's a good record.
Yep. So, Chris Flood, we like the challenge. We're going to see if we can make this episode interesting for you. It'll certainly be interesting for us. So that's all that really matters. Hopefully people will enjoy. Ken, what about you? First time you encountered the album, were you a shopper in 1980 when it came out?
Yeah, I bought it when it came out.
Okay.
Of course, I was still, a big Kiss fan at the time. So I can't remember if I got it right when it came out, or how I knew it even was coming out. I can't remember because you bought Unmasked, and I must have heard about it, and so either way, I know I got it that probably right around when it came out, because the thing I do recall is when playing it, you better run is on that, and I'm like, oh, I just got that a couple of months ago on Pat Benatar, so it wasn't that far off, but I've probably listened to it now this last week more times than I've ever listened to it.
Okay.
The whole going way back. I didn't give it much of a chance, I think, when it first came out, but it's grown on me definitely over the years.
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't a fan in 1980, and I didn't know anything about Kiss until I started learning more about the catalog after becoming a fan, and I couldn't find it until one day, 1987. So summer of 1987, I went from Binghamton to Redondo Beach to Bali to Singapore and spent the summer there. And it was there that I found the cassette of both it and Let Me Rock You, so the Singaporean cassette. And to this day, I want the "Let Me Rock You On Back," whoever I sold it to. I've been looking for that ever since. If I ever have any regrets, it's selling either of those. And I played it nonstop that summer. I also have the LP sitting over there somewhere as well. I fell in love with this album the moment I heard it. There was something about the guitar tones and just the diversity of material throughout. I always thought it was better than Unmasked. In terms of both the rockingness of it and the production, so many elements for my tastes. Yeah, there's lots of songs on Unmasked that I like, but I like the tone, the sound of this. It's a much more rock album than what Kiss was delivering in 1980. Not that Kiss or Criss amounted to much in the United States, at least. So I've loved this album from day one for me. And getting an excuse to dig back through remixes and demos, ripping multiple cassettes during the week to that one I think is Italian. There's a French one with the full cover, and of course, not to ignore America, got a few of these kicking around. So to this day, it stood the test of time very well, and I've been smiling all week. I have not listened to this to do this review show because this is a brick-walled piece of crap. This is the one that came out right around the time the licensed reissues of both of his albums came out. It is so bricked on the remaster. It's absolutely shameful. So my listening copy is a rip of this. And downside to that is that this doesn't have the little ball buster at the end, the little audio addition. Yeah. Ken, so you've listened to the most this week, for a while. How's it stood the test of time for you for, now versus when you first heard it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound dated or anything. It actually, the music, I think, stands up pretty good. It's actually, more catchy music, AOR type music than I remembered it when I first got it. I was looking for a more rocking kind of album, and which is what I would rather have from Peter Criss, and maybe we're going to get one soon, hopefully, with his new album coming, I guess. But it's actually, it's a lot better than I really thought it was, and I'm kind of, in a way, I was like, oh, it probably should have gotten more promotion than it did from Casablanca. Because it is better than what I think people really give it credit for.
Wait, Todd's saying don't get carried away? I'm going to get carried away. We don't get to do episodes like this very often. It's Kiss, Kiss, Kiss this, Kiss that. Today it's Criss this and Criss that. Daniel, what about you? How's it stood the test of time?
I have to agree with Ken that it's pretty good. When you listen to it, it sounds kind of fresh. There are, however, a few sounds on it that that's not to my taste. For example, we'll get into this later, some keyboard effects that's, way out there, space sounds. But if you think about it, really, Kiss, both on Dynasty and Unmasked, I think they have those kind of sounds as well. So it was, it kind of dates some of the songs, but you can look past that. The other thing I have a problem with is the saxophones. I don't care for saxophones, so I think that they could have used electric guitars instead of saxophones. So the saxophones and the effects from the keyboard effects that were, in vogue at the time, they haven't really stood the test of time. But other than that, I like the vocals. I like the sound of the bass is really up front, and you can clearly hear the drums, and it's a good production. I've listened to it actually on Spotify, but I have really expensive headphones, so it sounds really great.
Sorry, nothing can make Spotify sound great.
Hell yeah!
I'm gonna have to get you a copy of this album for real now that you're fully initiated into Team Green. Drink the Kool-Aid, Daniel. Drink the Kool-Aid. All right. So before we go into the album scores and all that, so Marcelo, thank you for the question. Was Peter contractually obligated with Casablanca? He should have signed with another label. No, as part of the 1980 Kiss contract, Peter was given a one-album solo deal with $100,000 advances from the international affiliate Phonogram, and the same for the U.S., of course. Bill Coyne took 18.5% off the top, and Glickman Marx took 5% off the top, not leaving a whole lot for Peter to pay for the studio time, the musicians, the producer, and all that. But yeah, he had a one album deal.
Well, I recall reading the last book you wrote. Didn't you write a lot about Peter Criss and his his deal? From what I remember,
it's all in here. It's all in here.
So go and buy Julian's book. It's
out of print.
Yeah, but did you just do another one of those with that Japanese guy? Belgian guy.
Yeah, that's sold out. That was a limited edition.
Okay.
So yeah, for now,
Great
who knows?
book.
If there's enough demand,
keep looking out there.
I'll put things back in print. Let's get into the metrics today. Of course, we break everything up into two sections. We'll talk about the songs, but first we're going to talk about the album. And let's get started. Daniel, let's go with you for your viewpoint on Out of Control's production and cohesiveness.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. I gave it 4 out of 5 when it comes to production. Cohesiveness, I think this is a great record. It's a storytelling record. It's really about, the rise and fall of a relationship, or the rise and fall of his time in Kiss. There's a real clear arc on the album, much like in a movie or when you read a novel. So I really like following the story in this album. To me, it's really a concept album about, falling in love.
Really?
Yeah. I'll explain to you later. Falling in love, falling in and out of love, and trying to pick up the pieces when things go to shit. So, and that's really been his career, so to speak. It's been lots of ups and downs, and I think that this record represents that perfectly. So I really like the cohesiveness on the album, and I think the songs, there's really no stinker on the album either. So I gave it actually 5 when it comes to cohesiveness.
Yeah, Marcelo, Peter busted his ass on this album. This was really a solo project, in all definition of the meaning. Ken, what about for you? What about production and cohesiveness?
Yeah, I give production a 3 out of 5. It's not my favorite sounding kind of production. I think Vinnie Poncia would have been a little bit better on the production side. It's not horrible, not great. It's just like in the middle. I would have wanted a more guitar, a little more guitar, like Daniel was saying earlier, instead of the saxophone guitar solo or something like that. I would have preferred that, but it's the style of music, I guess, he wanted to do, which is fine, perfectly fine. Cohesiveness, everything sounds like it all belongs together. Nothing pops out as like, why is that there, or anything like that. So I give it a 4 out of 5 on that one.
Yeah, you're gonna like the final multimedia clip at the end of the show, Ken. Stan Penridge and Peter were apparently, and again, I got part of the story from Stan, and I think we got part of the story from someone else. They were sneaking in to remix it because they didn't like how David Wolfert was mixing it, and when they remixed it, there was more guitars. So I will play some of that at the end. Cool. All right, production and cohesive for me. I mean, my notes for this are, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It sounds great. To this day, it sounds great. And my only note is it sounds better than Unmasked. So I disagree with Ken's assertion that Vinnie Poncia would have done a better job. It's got some balls. It's got some growl that goes with his vocals. Cohesiveness, I had to give it a 3. I had to be super objective on this, not to be completely Kool-Aid injected. It's all over the place, but that's a solo project. That's a solo album. It's got the Beth. It's got the love songs. It's got hard rockers. It's got throwbacks. And having all of that makes it not cohesive, but that makes it also very much a viable Peter Criss album, because he's showing you a little bit of everything that's important to him as an artist and musician, and as a guy embarking on his first real solo project outside of a band. So I tried to be super fair there, and I didn't like giving it a 3, but I felt I had to.
I think I have to disagree with Julian completely, because the story binds everything together. If you listen to the story, every song is perfect in place. Coming out of Kiss, no drums, the first song, and then you move on, he falls in love, and then the intensity of his emotions are so perfectly shown in each song. So we'll get into that later, and I'll try to tell Julian how it is.
Hey, why not? That's part of the discussion. All right, so cover art and packaging. Again, they went to Todd Shore, and that was a coin, I believe, initiated that. And he delivered a piece of artwork, and Peter had given him some reference photos of his then wife, Debbie, to include on the album cover. So she's there. So he was involved in the artistic, part of that for the design of the cover for his album, and he obviously approved the cover. What do you think of it, Ken, and the overall packaging? It's kind of in line with Casablanca packaging of the period.
Well, yeah, unmasked with a kind of a lot of color and so on, and cartoonish in a way. I don't like the cover art packaging. I always said, what the hell? What out of control. Okay, I guess it's an out of control jukebox.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's just kind of, I didn't get it at all. And the I give it only a 1 out of 5, because I really don't care for that. Sure, that's fine. He got his wife on there. But where the hell is Peter Criss on this cover, or on the back cover, or
He's right
anywhere? He's not there.
He is there.
He is not there.
Peter Criss is that exploding jukebox, Ken.
Oh, he's the... I didn't know he could shape shift or whatever. It just is like, why not? Why would you not put him on the cover? I mean, he's out of Kiss. There's no need to, be mysterious or anything about it. It's kind of, I don't know. That was just crazy to me. Yeah, it's nice and colorful and everything, but it doesn't work for me. That was a big miss, in my opinion.
Daniel, how about you?
Well, if you look at the next solo album, Let Me Rock You, you do understand why they are not using Peter Criss on the cover. That's really awful.
How they,
but there's really no photo. Getting booed off the stage here. Okay, there's really no picture of Peter Criss out of makeup where he looks cool. I dare you to show me one picture where he looks cool out of makeup. It just doesn't exist. Lately. No, it doesn't exist. And I think they put some effort into the album cover. They seem to have hired some sort of artist and did something that, was good at the time. Sort of, disco and jukeboxes and that kind of stuff, and an explosion. So, and a lot of colors. I kind of like it. I actually gave it 3 out of 5. I don't think it's that worse. I like the colors. I'm an Asylum guy, so I like colors. And explosions, I like those as well. And a pretty looking lady, there's nothing wrong with that. So 3 out of 5, way better than all of his other solo projects. That piece he put out in 2007 is even worse, with all the flags and the earth. That's really crappy. I could have done that.
He's trying to give you a message with the design of his album covers, but my notes for album cover is better than Unmasked, because it doesn't say that anyone stinks. It kind of is in line with the period. If you look at some of the other album covers of 79 and 80 that Casablanca were doing, Lightning, the Eric Carr disco album, for instance, with the skater, they're all very much of the period. But I do like the jukebox exploding and that kind of Peter, releasing all of these different 45s in one package. It's, a visual metaphor for what's going on. So I think it's great, and it's in line with kind of the Kiss designs of Destroyer and Love Gun, though not necessarily of the same caliber.
It went way over Ken's head, It was too advanced.
You know what, Julian? What they should have done is had Peter Criss behind the jukebox with an axe hitting it, and it's like exploding, and then they would have cover, and he's like, that would have been more like, oh, awesome, and the records are flying out, like perfect. That would have worked for me.
Okay. Nice. Well, let's talk about the single. There was a single issued from this album, but whether it made it out, they actually pushed it very hard, is a completely different matter. It's The Sentimental by Myself, backed with I Found Love. In Japan, it was issued with a picture sleeve, which does have a full or a kind of silhouetted facial picture of Peter. I forgot to prepare art for that to put on the screen, so I apologize. I think it was probably on one of the Mask Hysteria pages I showed. Ken, what do you think of the single choice? How did you rank that?
Yeah, I give it a 3 out of 5. I don't know if I would have went with that one first. I mean, it kind of makes sense to a degree, but I think should have had maybe a little bit more of one of the more rock songs, catchier songs. In Trouble Again, or Where Will They Run, something like that. Yeah, In Trouble Again might be a good one. It's hard to pick a single from this album because they're all good, but there's no like real one that you want to say, God, why did they not pick this one? Kind of thing. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and Todd, I'm not taking that many shots at Unmasked today. This is a death match between Out of Control and Unmasked. So my preference is showing here. Daniel, what do you think about the single?
First of all, I think you have to compare the album to all the albums that we talked about, not just Unmasked enough. Let's
all the solo albums.
Yeah.
I compare it to.
Yeah, but well, this is a lousy pick for first single. I've given Out of Control quite a few points so far, but when it comes to singles, I have to give it 1 out of 5. But come on, guys. Releasing the first single from Peter Criss, the incredible drummer of Kiss, you release a song without any drums.
They're hoping for another Beth there.
That's insane. Yeah, but, try to come up with something new. When they have great songs like Out of Control, why not release something like that? So I think the pick was totally wrong. It's not one of the better tracks, but I get it. I think they want to, it really tells the story of Peter, getting started once again out of Kiss. So the lyrics are pretty interesting, but the song is, not much to write home about. So bad pick, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5. Again, I'm mixed on it. I kind of get the suit and tie guy at Casablanca saying, "Oh, Peter Criss, let's issue the song that sounds the most like Beth," because I have no originality. I'm a suit and tie, and all I do is look at ledgers all day. So it makes sense from that point of view. Hindsight is 2020. When you look at things like You Want to Run becoming a hit for Pat Benatar, you automatically think that, that should have been issued as the single because it might have been a hit for Peter. Well, Pat and Peter are two different artists, so there's no way to kind of conflate either of those. Would there have been a better song on it? Well, again, that's going to depend on everyone's taste. A record label can only go by the track record of the artist that they're promoting, and they had only agreed to promote him as much as they'd promote any other drummer going solo. So he wasn't getting any special treatment. But I think once they saw how Shandy did, they probably should have gone with something a bit more expected from a Kiss alumni, but it may have been too late at that point for it to be changed. All right, that is the album section done. Let's just go through Mark's scores because he did submit those before his conflict arose, and he gave the production 4, cohesiveness 3.5. Hey, I do the
Oh, he's using the 0.5. Wow.
3 for the cover art, 2 for the singles,
Mhm.
and he's kind of, well, Mark, Ken, and Daniel are meh on the taste overall, so that'll be interesting as we go through these songs. Let's go straight back to the single for the first song, because By Myself ended up as the least favorite song on this album.
Really?
And again, when we rank these songs,
I'm surprised.
we give them a score, and that means that something's going to be at the top with the largest score, and something's going to be at the bottom. On 63 points is By Myself. So Ken,
it had to be Mark's score that must have done it. It had to be Mark's score.
It was
anyway.
Mark. He gave it 10 points.
Yes, I knew it. I knew it because it's too close to Beth, too close to Destroyer, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, By Myself is one of my, well, it's tied for one of the higher rated ones for my list. I enjoy it. I don't think it should have been the first. The problem is it's the first song on the album. I think it should have ended. They should have ended the album with that.
Yeah.
Ended it. Just that would have been a perfect way. Ended it, followed by the, A Kiss Is Still the Kiss snippet from Casablanca. That's what I would have done. But I enjoyed it. The lyrics are okay. 3 out of 5. Melody. It's a good little melody. It's fine. I think it's good. And my taste is, I like that kind of song. I gave it a 3 out of 3 for taste. So, yeah, a 21 on mine. So, I'm surprised it's the least favorite or the lowest ranking.
Daniel, you gave it 16 points.
Why are you picking on me? The second boo, and we're like 10 minutes into the show. Well, I think I gave it 5 out of 5 when it comes to lyrics. That ought to count for something.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because I think the lyrics are really interesting on this one, because By Myself, starting over again, it's really about him trying to, reboot his career, going solo.
Yeah.
And I like it when the songs are sort of autobiographical like this one. And it's a great way to start the record after leaving Kiss. So I think the lyrics are perfect. This is what is supposed to... This is the correct thing to sing about. Starting over, trying to get started. He's lonely, he's by himself. There's really not much of a backup in order to make him as successful as he was. So it's clearly about his situation. And that's a theme that carries on through the entire album. To me, this album is about the rise and fall of actually a relationship. And then is it about him and a woman, or is it about him and Kiss? It might be about both things. It's sort of blended. And after hearing the 78 record, you kind of had different expectations on a Peter Criss solo album, because I remember, putting on the 78 record and expecting some sort of rock record, hard rock record, and being real disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's pretty similar to his 78 album, I think. I think this is a bit rockier than that one, actually. But the thing that's the main issue for me is there's no drums on the first song. And you said it's because he wants another Beth. Well, that's kind of boring if he's trying to do the same thing once again. I would have liked him to go all out, showing that he's still a great drummer. So some might think it's, wow, that's pretty cool by Peter Criss, releasing the first song from his solo career, and he leaves the drums completely off so he can focus on his great vocals. Well, that might be the case, but for me, I think it's strange, and it's not one of my favorite songs, but the lyrics are pretty awesome.
Yeah, so, I agree with you, and I gave it the exact same score for some similar reasons, really, in that I don't see it as a Beth. I don't see him trying to copy Beth. I think that's what a record label executive might have thought. I see sentimentality coming along in this lyric. This is Peter. It's emotion. It's a declaration. It's sadness. It's both sides of those elements that you kind of mentioned. But it's an echo of Beth, but it's melodically, but it's melancholy. I love the message, but I just would have preferred a rocker at the beginning of this album. But it also provides a continuity, a move from Kiss to now. This is Peter Criss. I'm on my own. I'm sad that I'm on my own, but I'm happy that I'm on my own. I'm very mixed. Hey, Mark, we're talking about By Myself. So
yes. So just really quickly, I'm just going to say that I've listened to this record for the very first time in its entirety. This is the first time I've ever heard this record. I've only maybe heard Out of Control and maybe a song or two besides that. So this is a very new listen, and probably one of the rare times you'll probably hear somebody who's never heard this record before talk about it. The first thing that I thought of immediately when I heard By Myself was that this goes against everything that I was ever taught when I was going through engineering school and everything else. And even people that I was like songwriters that I was involved with, they've always told me never start a record with a ballad. That's like a terrible way to start a record. That's like, and of course we're talking about Peter Criss here. He's had a long career before this, so it's not like he's trying to start really some career fresh, although it is a solo career he is starting. But I was very surprised that he started with a song like this. It's you usually want to come out swinging and, have some hard hitting song come out and grab people's attention. But man, it was the complete opposite of what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Mark. I mean, I said that it shouldn't have been the first song. It should have been the last song for me. Not because it's bad or good or bad or anything. Is because I just think it would have made more sense to end the album that way with that.
I think that's a great point, Ken. The lyrics should be on a first song, but the way the music sounds, it sounds like the last song on the album.
You want to kick off the album with kind of a
rocker, but I think the message in the lyrics, that's a great message.
Yeah, it's a good message.
Yeah. So Todd, just to repeat as well, By Myself is far from the worst song on this album. This isn't about worst or best. This is just least favorite. There's a difference. No one's hating on it and saying that it's crap.
No,
it's just in terms of assigning a score to talk about each one of these songs, it's fallen at the bottom. And right behind it is its B-side on 66 points.
Oh no,
I Found Love. Which I'm actually offended by that scoring. But there we go. Mark, since you're just joining us, why don't you get us started on your thoughts on I Found Love?
Well, look, I don't, again, like, I'm going to echo what you kind of said. There's nothing on this record that I found, offensive or absolutely horrendous or anything. But the production of the songs I thought was very good. I mean, I'm sure you already went through all the production scores and all that, and I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4 out of 5. The production for this record. So I think that it's very well done. It sounds good, and this is another one of those songs that benefited from a good production. Now, I think as far as the score goes, I think it might have been a 12 or 14 or something. I don't remember offhand. I don't have it right in front of me, but I don't really have a problem with Peter as a musician. The only thing that I have a problem with is that sometimes he seems to lean on the same subject matter a lot lyrically. He doesn't really broaden his lyrical horizons. A lot about love and I'm starting over again and stuff like that. And I guess we could expect that at that time period because he was very much happy to be at a Kiss, right? But
and he was in love.
Yeah, and he was in love and stuff like that. And it showed, right? But I mean, the only thing that I would have, if you have a time machine and can go back, I would have just, as a producer, maybe would have told him, "That's great, Peter. I'm happy you're in love. Use that to make some of your great vocal performances, but broaden the lyrics a bit, because after a while, your male audience is going to start rolling their eyes a little bit and thinking this is going to be a complete syrup album, which in a way it sort of is. But he when he doesn't do that, when he talks about other stuff." Like In Trouble Again and stuff like that, it kind of branches out and I get more interested in it.
Daniel, your thoughts on I Found Love?
Yeah, I think me. I look at it quite differently than Mark does, because I think this love theme is what this album is about. You know, in the beginning he's alone, then he gets in all sorts of trouble, and then he doesn't know where to go. Where will they run from here? And on song number 4, he's actually found love once again, and he starts to feel he starts feeling, you know, good feelings once again, and things are starting to work out for Peter in this song. And it's really about, you know, he meets a girl and falls in love. It won't end happily, however, if you listen through the album. So this is the beginning of his love affair with this woman that he adores. So I think it's, when it comes to lyrics, I think I enjoy the lyrics, but you have to listen to the album from start to finish. It's really a story. It's a novel, this album. I think this is an okay song. I think I gave it something like 14 points. The only thing I don't like on this song that I think sticks out a bit is the Christine 16 piano. They could have deleted that. I never liked that on Christine 16 either, but pretty good song. Not one of my top picks, but it fits the theme, the arc of the album, and it's an okay song.
Ken, Daniel says it fits like a glove on the album. What do you think?
No, it doesn't feel like a glove, but yeah, it's not a bad song. It's right in the middle for me. You know, I give it like 3 out of 5 for lyrics, 3 out of 5 for a melody. The thing is with the piano, it's not Christine 16, Daniel. It's Moving Out by Billy Joel. That's what that sounds like to me. I wrote that down, Billy Joel, Moving Out.
Yeah, John Lennon-ish.
Yeah, a little bit. But I thought, this makes me, want to listen to Billy Joel, the Stranger album, because I love that song. And, but that's the last of that piano doesn't do much anywhere else except for the beginning. And that's part of the deal with this. Are you playing it? This album, this is the deal with the album is it has a lot of different influences on it, like Billy Joel, and there's other songs I'll mention what I feel about some of the other songs, but this one was a Billy Joel kind of attempt of something of some sort, I think. But it's a good song, not great, not bad. It's right in the middle for me.
I really enjoy. I'm glad they picked this as a B-side because I think it's a great song. I gave it 25.5 points. I love this. Lyrically, I love this. I love the pacing. I love the arrangement, and I love the music. And I think it's a fantastic vocal. And this brings us to our first piece of multimedia, and this is the demo version of that song.
Oh, lots of piano.
Safe and warm. When I'm holding you tight, I know I'm feeling alright. Ever felt this way before? Someone's taking the time. I feel the whole world is mine. I found love like I never known. I found love, and it means more to me since I found you.
All right, so lots more guitars in the demo, and a slightly different arrangement for it in that very far from final form. But thank you for the opportunity to go back through all these demos and material that I've accumulated over the years. Really enjoy that. All right, let's move on into 8th place. I'm just gonna have to do something for this.
Okay. The third one.
I'm not booing. I don't want to boo anyone in particular for that one. But on 67.5 points, Words. Daniel?
Words. Let's see. Words.
They're only
This
words.
is one of my least favorite songs on the album. I gave it 10 points, I think. And that's not a lot of points. And this is later on the record. I think it's song number 7 on the record, and Love is Starting to Fall Apart. I have some problems with the lyrics in this one. He does one, rookie mistake in this song that really, sticks out. I teach Swedish and actually English in class, and one thing when you write poems or lyrics, you can't rhyme with the same word. That's fucking nuts. But it does that on this album. That's like something you do in 4th grade. And then you teach the children, you can't rhyme with the same word. Are you insane? That's crazy. But it does that in this song. I can't get around it. I think it's a bit cozy, It's a cozy song. But when it says, and you have your friends, and I have my friends. It's fucking so bad. I can't get around that. I mean, I've been teaching, how to write poems and stuff. This is the first thing you teach them. Don't rhyme with the same word. If it isn't some sort of, go through the whole thing like some guys do when they write poems, but this is just crazy bad. So the lyrics, I don't like it, but the message in this song, this is later on the record, the love is starting to fall apart, and it works in the whole scheme of the album, the arc of the album. But that's the only thing it does. This is one of my least favorite songs. I think it's plain boring.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Mark gave it 5. Mark gave it 5 points. How many did you give it? You gave it 10.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, Mark.
Well, I mean, again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Like, it's like just looking at the lyrics here, But in the end, yes, in the end, ooh, in the end, there are only words. It's like it is so.
Nope.
Just so syrupy. Like, I just can't handle that. I mean, I'm not against ballads, but it's just so, like you almost imagine the guy like sharpening a razor in the bathroom while he's singing it. It's like it's so depressing. I mean, honey, just trust in you. I love you. That's another thing too. I remember back in the day, we were working on this record, and we had a guy come in to help do some harmony vocals. And we had the same trouble with our old singer. He used to write really sappy lyrics, and he had a line like in one of our songs too, where he wrote in there like something like, "Forget about this, I still love you." And he looked at us. He goes, "I can't sing this." Like he literally said, he goes, "I can't sing this." He goes, "I'll either start laughing or it won't sound authentic." Look, I believe in love just as much as anybody else. Okay, but you got to change it up a bit. I mean, by this point, how many songs have we gotten to that have this topic in there? I mean, there's got to be something else to sing about besides that. And I mean, and it's just one of the songs that I think is just the most just overblown in that area. I mean, some of the other songs he doesn't do it as badly, so therefore I didn't rank it as badly because I just thought it flowed a bit better. And also the music in this is there's a lot of that ballady things like that, do do do, like those kind of like really like like those Hallmark card, Valentine Day sort of movies that you see during Valentine's Day, like where they make up and meet each other. No. Yeah, it's just I'm sorry. I mean, I love Peter. Peter, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. But this is just total syrup. Yeah.
But I just have to say, you can't get around. You have to understand that this album is about love.
I know.
It's about falling in love, falling out of love.
As a first-time listener, listening to this, I was just shocked at how much it was on that. I mean, I knew that I was expecting it fully, getting out of the band. He married this fantastic, beautiful woman. So, of course, he's going to be singing about these things. But to this degree, I was like, wow.
It's a concept album.
Okay. That's an interesting theory. You'll have to write that into an article. Ken, words. How many points did you give it?
21.
Hey, thank goodness.
Wow. It's not even written by you.
It's not like that. I mean,
what the hell?
This is middle. This is sure it's therapy, but there's songs back in the 70s, like, Feelings, that one.
Wait, we're losing your mic.
It was a huge hit.
There we
There we
go.
go. It's better.
There you go.
Sorry,
Okay.
your mic dropped out.
Oh, sorry. Songs like Feelings were, a syrupy song back in the 70s with those kind of lyrics. So it's okay. Melody is 4 out of 5. I think it's okay. It's pretty good. And for taste, 3 out of 3. So yeah, 21. This song is another one that's kind of reminds me of a different artist song. It reminds me of Christopher Cross, something Chris Cross would do back then. That's what that sounds like. Yep.
Crisscross will make you jump.
How do you make you want to jump?
See how
Hey.
that works? Crisscross.
Just real fast, you know that Crisscross Make You Jump, that was the #1 record when Revenge hit number 6. That tells you everything.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
I liked it.
The album is
All right.
kind of...
Anyone want to boo me when I say this? I gave this 30 points. Perfection.
Boo!
Now,
Boo!
now let me explain why. Bias and experience. I'd like to take you on a little journey back to 2017, sitting in the cutting room when Peter did his last, to date anyway, public concert, in essence. And
Great
this
concert.
song was performed in a room with a whole bunch of Peter Criss fans, not just Kiss fans, Peter Criss fans. I'd known some of the songs that were potentially going to be done, and I had only one hope, that I Can't Stop the Rain was one of them. When he went into words, the room pretty much erupted. Just the emotion of that, I have my friends, you have your friends, and I have my friends, with Peter looking out at us all. It was a moment. And whenever I hear this song now, it takes me back to that moment in the cutting room with just so much joy, so much love and affection and respect. And I'm just going to let a bit of that night play from my recording. From that show.
Cool.
You see it your way, and I see it my way, and we both know in the end who to blame. And you have your friends, and I have my friends.
I think it's good.
He was sick as a dog that night as well. So God bless him for getting up on stage and putting on that set for us. So that's my case. That's why I gave it 30, because of that moment sitting there. I had Scott
Makes
with me
sense.
that night and a whole bunch of other people. And I was front row just watching Peter. All right, let's move on. In 7th place, the song that I think could have been a hit, You Better Run, 68.5 points. Ken, get us started on that, since you've already denigrated it because of Pat Benatar.
Yeah. Lyrics are good, 4 out of 5. Melody's a good melody, but the taste, I gave it a 2, because I think it could have been done better. The production wasn't good. I mean, when you compare Pat Benatar's version, even the Guess Who's original version back in the 60s, I like that even better than Peter's version. I think something's missing on Peter's. There's I don't know what it is, but it's just not up to the snuff as far as it's a good try out, a good rocker, but I wouldn't have released it as a single. I don't think it would have made it Pat Benatar never released hers as a single. I don't think it would have been a hit like hers was, semi-hit. Hers only got so high, but it's a well-known song. So anyway, yeah, it's okay, but it's not quite there.
Daniel, what about you?
You Better Run. Well, this is song, I think, number 8 on the album. And this is where the love story is starting to fall apart. And that's why I think it's in a good spot. I like the lyrics. And he talks about you go around telling lies, you fool around with other guys. It's really about, betrayal, this one. So the love story is starting to go sour at this point of the record. And I like that in the story of this concept album. But the song in itself is not one of my favorite. Especially that car alarm guitar. That's no good. That's really no good. So I think I gave it like 8 or 10 points or something like that. I think it's my least favorite song on the whole album.
Ouch. I mean,
Yeah.
in hindsight, it should have been the first single. I think it's a great cover.
No.
I always enjoyed it. I didn't have any reference point for the original. That was my introduction to the Young Rascals. I didn't know anything about Pat Benatar, so I liked it just fine. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, well, this gets back to what I was saying before. I mean, at least now we're starting to branch out a bit. I mean, I know Daniel doesn't like that car alarm guitar, as he calls it, but I mean, at least there's some guitar now happening, and there's a little bit more balls happening. There's a little bit more punch happening in there now. Lyrically, it's it's better now. There's a little bit more fire in the wording. It's not so much "I love you" and blah 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 blah. It's a little bit more, angst and stuff like that, and that's good. Now we're starting to have some variation in it. I don't think I would never give it like a 30 or anything like that, but it's definitely much better ranking, in my opinion, than some of the other material, and it's far from the worst song. I mean, as much as me and Daniel agree on a lot of things and see eye to eye on a lot of stuff musically, I don't agree that this is the worst song on the record. I mean, the one we just talked about was far worse than this. That's for damn sure. So, but yeah, this is pretty good. I mean, it's better. He's expanded a bit. Even though it is technically a cover, from what I understand. So, great. I mean, there's a little bit more variation coming up on the record because of that.
I wish on his promo tour that he did do for the album that there'd been more questions about the music on the album than there were about him leaving Kiss and going solo. And just that angle seemed to be the only thing that he got any airtime to talk about, rather than going into songs and stories, which, of course, is what I really crave, all aspects of that. All right, we are moving on into what place? Oh, yeah, which piece of paper am I looking at? In 6th place. On 72 points. Where will they run? Tell us, Ken. Where will they run?
Where will they run? I don't know. They'll run. It's a good song. I like this song. Lyrics are, nothing to scream about one way or the other. Pretty good melody on it, and I like the song. So I give it a 21. I think it's a very solid song. Rocks a little bit. I enjoy it. Good melody. Really good melody. So 21 for me.
All right, Mark, this one didn't work for you.
Uh-oh.
Mark?
Yeah, sorry. I just muted myself because sometimes I'm just referring back to some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, this song reminds me of something that you'd hear on, like, Hill Street Blues, like that television show. Like,
Be careful out there.
Like he's got, it's very much like one of those, those very mellow, somber thing. You see that the detective behind his car. It's really late at night, and he's going, "The music's running wild." He's going down the street, and it just very much reminds me of like a sort of nighttime in metropolitan Baltimore or something.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's not great. I mean, it's not like Los Angeles or something like that, right? But I mean, it's very very melancholy. Every time when I heard this song, it's very much one of these like somber kind of songs. Like the opening line, like "The fever's running wild, it's 102 in the shade." not his worst lyric. I actually think it was pretty clever. That it's not too bad. He's kind of, when he can write lyrics that set a picture that you can see in your mind when he's singing about it, that's good. And I think this is not terrible. I mean, I know I didn't rank it exactly very high, but that's mainly because I've never been a big fan of those sort of, Hill Street Blues and, homicide, life on the streets sort of background music that, he can sometimes fall into, you know what I mean? Like Dirty Living sort of has that feel, but Dirty Living is just like a stellar song though, in comparison, I think.
All right, Daniel, you really dig this one.
Yeah, I gave it 24 points. I like the cool electric piano, and it really fits as song number 3 on the album. When Mark listens to the album for the second time in his life, he will understand, the arc of the album. This is just before he finds love in song number 4. So he's really out there. He doesn't know where to go. Everything is chaos, and the crazy saxophone underlines the chaos. I really like the bass, sort of a playful bass in this one. It's up front. But I'm not a fan of saxophones, but I think it sort of fills a function in this song. But it comes out of left field. And when I think about saxophones, I'm thinking about those 80s songs like Tina Turner or Bruce Springsteen, where they bring in like a big, muscular black guy playing saxophone for 30 seconds, and then they kick him off the stage, sort of. I never got the saxophone thing with mixing that with rock or pop.
Urgent, Foreigner Urgent was a great one.
Rolling Stone.
Floyd.
Bruce Springsteen.
Fuck them all. It's the worst.
Okay.
No, you don't
remember that the Scandinavian love song is something about slaughtering a goat in the woods.
Yeah, that's more like it. No, and there's some more problems, like the keyboard effect that they use on this song is so, whatever 80s, when they
ranked as 24 though, like
yeah. So what was so great about it? Well, it fits. it fits the album. It's in the perfect spot, the perfect lyrics in order to understand the story that you need to go back and listen to. And then here I am standing alone. I don't know where I'm going. So it is chaos. So when you understand that this is just.
Dude, this understanding thing is total garbage, because I listened to probably more concept albums than you ever have in your life. Come on.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Take it easy now, boy. Thank you, Ace. But I think the lyrics are perfect. Here I am standing alone. I don't know where I'm going. And when understanding the concept in the song, I do understand the crazy saxophone. I do understand the keyboard effects. It's about chaos. Life is chaos for Peter Criss in this song. But in the next song, he finds love and all things work out. So I like the way they've put this song in spot number 3 on the album. It's perfect for the storytelling.
I think I have a little bit of all your comments in mind on this. This one isn't one of my favorite songs on the album. Has never been. But it's a mood and style change. Those synths are annoying. They just like have a buzz in the background.
The chaos.
I love the sax. I like a good aggressive sax. I like brass or rock and roll. To me, that's very rock and roll. That's very Stonesy. And when Peter did brass
60s.
on Strutter in New York, I was just agog, because it gave it a whole new character. All right, we're at the halfway point, so it's time for an intermission. Kai, where was Kai's comment gone? Because he was talking about the songs are okay, but he likes the demos better. Well, there's 2 songs that didn't make the album, and there are demos and studio cuts for both of those. So let's jump into those at the midway spot and see what you guys think of both of these, and which one you like better and which one you think would fit the album better. Here's the first.
I'm standing on the side of the stage. crazy to feel this way. Taking it day by day, but together. Ooh, baby, together. Oh, honey, together. We're gonna make it okay. 'Cause you're my girl. You're my girl. You're my girl. And I love you.
All right, You're My Girl. Next up is, make sure I do the right one.
Looking from the inside out, wondering what it's all about. Could it be love? Could it be love? But I'm so ashamed to cry, and I'm so afraid to die. Could it be love? Could it be love? You can't deny it, so why not try it? It's just the motion that you carry with it. The kind of feeling that sets you reeling. The kind of feeling that'll run you real good.
Oh, glorious. That is actually one of my favorite Peter cuts. That would be in my top 10 of Peter songs. And I don't really care what anyone thinks, but let's see what you think. Mark, your opinion on either or both of those, please.
The first one was okay. It kind of reminded me of something you'd hear like on a Jamaican cruise ship liner or something. It was okay, but it was okay. It's not too. It got me in a dancing mood. The second one was not too bad. The only thing that took me aback was that Battlestar Galactica keyboard thing. It's very, like early Battlestar Galactica sounding there. But the rest of it wasn't too bad. I mean, it's a demo, so it's not going to be like great production.
That's studio cut rather than the demo.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, maybe just time didn't do well with the conditioning of the tape or something. But it's okay. It was, all the ideas were there. It sounds too bad. I think I like the second one a bit better, even though I like the vibe of the first one.
Daniel, what about you? Ever heard those before?
Yeah, I think I've heard them, but it was quite some time ago. But I like both of them, and I think the first one would fit the album perfectly. My Girl, it talks about starting his career over again, and he starts thinking about this relationship. It seems like it's getting serious. So I would put this at the 5th spot on the album, just after I Found Love, when he's met the girl, and here he can start, talking about getting rebooted his career and really starting to falling in love with the girl that this album is about.
So the concept fixes your concept of the concept.
Hell yeah.
Ken.
You're muted. Yes.
The muted Ken.
I know. I think I like them both about equally. The first one, I feel like, it's kind of like Mark was saying, I felt like it was a Jimmy Buffett song type song. It would have worked perfect for that. That's what that one sounds like to me, which is, it's fine. It was kind of catchy, actually. The second one, it was okay until it got to the, more of the rocking part. I really enjoyed that, and him able to, show his vocals off, and so that part of it was good for me. So yeah, they're both about the same. Either one I could take,
Yeah, the Catman was fearless. He's all over the ballpark on this album, and the songs that he was trying out, those that worked, those that didn't, those that made the album. So again, it shows a very broad taste of music. Let's get back to the rankings. In 5th place, a song rejected by Kiss. Shame on you.
That's right, Kiss.
There's Nothing Better. 75.5 points. This was brought in. Peter Criss brought 4 songs into the Dynasty sessions in 1979. Rumble, there's Out of Control, There's Nothing Better, and Dirty Levin. Ace brought in 5. What could Dynasty have been if there had been more Peter Criss on the drums and in terms of songs? And some of these songs could have been on Unmasked if it had lasted. Daniel, start with you for There's Nothing Better.
Well, if you talk about drumming, I prefer Anton Fig over 1979 version of Peter Criss. So I wouldn't have him drum on the album because there's some great drumming on Dynasty. And but I would have liked some more Peter Criss vocals. If I would have to pick one of his demos, I would for sure pick Out of Control. Such a great song. But this is not far behind. But I'm not sure it would have fit Dynasty because this is, sort of a happy-go-lucky thing. This is song number 5. Last song, he found love, and now he's completely, enveloped in, that feel you have when you're in love. And this song really managed to manifest that feeling. And that's why I love this song. This is probably the song I go back to most times if I want to listen to a song from this album, because I think it's a sort of a silly, when you're in love, you don't think straight. It's a silly song, but that's the way it is when you're in love. Strong chorus that really sticks. I mean, I dare you, listen through this album, and if you don't remember the chorus to There's Nothing Better, I mean, you're not very musical. How do you say? You don't know music, sort of, because the chorus is great. It's sort of a poppy, chorus that you remember the first time you heard it. So it really sticks. Sort of like something like I Was Made for Loving You. You hear it once and you remember it. And after listening to this record, this is a chorus that you won't forget. The intro guitar is a bit reminiscent of Ace's stuff, I think. I like the intro guitar. It sounds sort of, like something Ace could have done. There's somewhat of a big band vibe to the song. I don't mind that. The piano is pretty fun, pretty funny. And when you started the theme of the song, it's clear that love is blossoming, and Peter is, how do you say, high over heels? What's the expression?
Head over heels.
Head over heels in love. So, honey, right from the start, no one could tear us apart. That's a quote from the song, and that's how he feels now. But if you listen to the end of the record again, Mark, you'll see that this doesn't, end well. There will be a terrible ending of this love affair on this album. But I don't know how many points I gave this song, but it must have been close
27.
to 20. Yeah, I love it. I think it's a great chorus. What a pop song. Pure magic.
Ken disagrees.
Of course.
Yeah, There's Nothing Better, right?
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes, there is better, actually. I didn't rate this high. I don't care for it too much. I don't like the verses of the song. The chorus is even okay. It's not the greatest thing to me. And my taste of the song is like a 2 out of 3. That's what dragged my score down to a 10. So if I would have said 3, yeah, it would have been a little higher. But I just don't like the song that much. It's okay.
That's okay, Ken. Mark likes it.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the song. I mean, to me, it's a very just kind of standard 12-bar blues thing. It's just very basic and simple. And when you do that, you can easily sing decent melodies over top of it, right? I mean, that's the one benefit of it, right? I mean, if you do songs in 5/4 and 7/8, you're not going to do too many easy to sing melodies unless you rush, of course. But this stuff here, it's good. And the lyrics, I don't mind the lyrics in here. I mean, again, it's very love orientated, but the thing is, it's not sappy. It's very more happy instead of sappy. You see what I did there?
Happy and sappy.
Yeah. But it's that's what I don't mind about this. He can get across his message without making people, slap their head in disgust of what they're hearing. Right? It's good. He gets his point across. It's one of those songs too where a guitar player can pick up his guitar and just jam along with it pretty simply and have a good time. I don't have much negative to say about it in that sense.
Yeah, for me, imagine this on Unmasked.
Mm-hmm.
The guitars and vocals are splendid. It's a fun throwback. But, and I gave it 17.5 points. It always placed third for me out of Peter's Dynasty demos.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I like the brass. It's rock and roll, and there's a really good solo on it. So I don't hate it. It's just, again, it's 3 out of 4 on the Dynasty demos when I put them in order, which I like slightly more than the others.
How many points did you give it?
I gave it 17.5.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here's another piece of multimedia and a tea break for me.
Yes, I love you. Indeed, I do.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Yeah.
Good break.
Great stuff.
So, yeah, I mean, throwback Elvis-y kind of vibe and part.
That's better than what ended up on the album, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that was the Dynasty demo that he did with Vinnie Poncia and Stan. So, all right.
Great.
So, moving on into 4th place, My Life. Mark, let's start with you for that one.
My Life. Okay. I'm trying to remember where that placed in this fantastic album. Oh, second last, right? From what I remember of this song, I think was it more of a laid back song? I'm trying to remember. Again, this is my first listen to this, so
kind of.
Clearly it didn't really stick in my mind, this one, too much. But the last couple definitely did. So I don't know. I mean, from what I remember of this song, it doesn't seem very memorable to me. Oh, hang on. Why is that doing that? Sorry. So, yeah, you might be better off asking somebody else's opinion on this one, because for me,
you already gave it 12 points and it didn't do much for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of par for the course. Like, the songs that are really good in this that I liked are memorable. It's kind of like what Daniel said. Like, you'll remember the chorus, it'll stick in you, and it'll come back to you. This one, for some reason, that didn't really. Maybe with repeated listens, maybe it will, right? But at this point, it doesn't seem to really stick too much.
Let's see what Daniel has to say about it. Jars your memory of it. Daniel.
I gave it 24 points. This is the 9th song on the album. Mm-hmm. Things have gone sour. The love for the girl that he sings about is kind of over, and he's trying to start over once again, much like in the first song. This time it's going to be different, my life. It's going to start today. So he's trying to reboot himself once again towards the end of the record. I kind of like the Born to Be Wild riff, the guitar riff. The baby in the intro, I think it's so funny because it sounds exactly like the one from the 78 album. Baby, don't you let me down. I like that. I like that kind of homage to the solo album. I like the drums on this one. Pretty fun drums. Way more fills than on the other songs. And also, in addition to this song that I enjoyed was the girl choir. That answers Peter in the chorus. They didn't do that a whole lot, Kiss. I know Ace did it on his solo album. Paul did it on the solo album. And I think there was one song on Hot in the Shade where they had, like a girl choir. And I enjoy that.
Rockin' All Over, Love Gun, Destroyer.
Background. Tomorrow and Tonight.
Yeah, there might be a few more, but from the top of my head, I'm thinking about Speeding Back to My Baby. Isn't there a girl choir on that one? And
Susan Collins,
girl background singer.
Yeah, so I always enjoy that. There might be a few more than the ones I mentioned, of course, but I like it. I like the song a lot, and it fits the arc of the album, of course, perfectly.
All right, Ken, you're off mute, right?
I am.
Okay, good.
Barely. My Life. It's okay. It's one of my maybe least favorite, or on this, not my least favorite, but in the middle for me. Lyrics are kind of, I don't like the lyrics that much. Melody's okay. Taste, I like it. It's good. But it reminds me of they're going for a Badfinger, kind of a mellow or Badfinger type song. What they're going for here. That's what it sounds like to me. It's okay. It's pretty good. Not horrible. It's just okay for me.
Yeah, I gave it 25.5 points because I really like this song. It's a meaningful rocker. It's like a positive affirmation. And I love the prominence of the piano on it and the harmonies and the backing vocals. So it all comes together. It's got a message. It's, kind of in the face of adversity, the opening the door into the unknown. Going to make it count. And again, from that perspective, positive music, I'll take any day of the week because it can make you smile when you're just listening to it. And this makes me smile. All right. I didn't give you the points on that one. It was just slightly ahead of There's Nothing Better on 76.5. In third place, In Trouble Again. Sounds like my theme song. 78 points. Ken, let's start with you.
In Trouble Again. I like this song. It's really good. Lyrics, fine. Melody, I give 4 out of 5, and taste 3 out of 3. I think it's a real good song. I know Peter was known for getting into trouble a lot, probably mostly with Gene and Paul, I think. But it's a good one. I really enjoy it. So it's tied for my top songs, 4 songs on this record. So it's really good.
Yeah, you gave it the same score as me. Mark, this one doesn't work for you. In Trouble Again.
It's funny because you say it doesn't work well for me. And listening back to it, just to give myself a refresher, I think I probably ranked it a little lower than I probably should have. I think the guitar playing in this is actually decent on this. I think that the cowbell, one of those things that's always a joking point in most songs, actually fits very nicely in this, actually. Yeah. I think that right after hearing the opener, I thought they should have been flip-flopped at least. I thought, I understand conceptually it wouldn't have worked, but I think as far as an opener, I think this one would have been fantastic as an opener, like musically speaking. It's very catchy, very jumps out. His vocal delivery is good on this. I'm actually kind of surprised that I didn't rank it higher because I do think even now in the last 15 seconds that I just listened to it really quickly to remind me of it, I think it's a far better song than I probably gave it credit for.
Nice. Well, that's the whole thing. Our opinions can change.
Yeah.
Daniel, where does this fit into your concept?
Yeah, it fits perfectly, of course, because if you guys didn't know it before, this is the perfect concept album when it comes to Falling in and Out of Love. And this is in the second spot on the album. But I have to agree with Mark. If you could, maybe switch the lyrics between the first and the second song, you could switch them up, because the first song is really misplaced on the album, the way it sounds. But when it comes to In Trouble Again, he still is in dire straits. He doesn't know where to go. In the first song, he told us that he was all alone. He was starting to, he needed to reboot his career. And in this second song, it's all about deceit and trouble. It's still chaos. It will later on, he'll meet this girl, and things starts to go way better for him. But the song in itself, I like the vocals, very cool vocals, much like kind of a hooligan Baby Driver feel at times. And as Mark said, I think you need to listen to this a few more times, because there's really tasty guitar work throughout the song. Small little snippets throughout the songs. Maybe sort of acisms through the song.
It's Steve Lukather, I think.
Okay,
nice.
Great work there. Yeah, and the riff, the main riff in itself is a really simple but really cool guitar riff. And as you mentioned, Mark, the cowbell works well as in the song as well. So I might not care for the piano part in the song, but that's like the only downer in the song. It's a bit reminiscent of songs like Dirty Living, I think. So real cool, and it tells the story perfectly. Chaos, but things will turn around in a song or two.
Yes.
I gave it like 24 points or something like that.
Yep. Perfect song to follow up the opening track. It's a good counterbalance to that. It's strong, it's powerful, it's dynamic. Boom. Love the thick and dirty guitars and the rock and roll attitude. Great vocal and phrasing. Love the cowbell, and also noted it's a very strong solo. Okay, we're down to the last two songs here, and we're going to know the winner imminently, or at least the favorite song today on this album. In second place, I'm surprised this song went as high as it did, to be perfectly honest. While I like it, obviously opinions vary. So on 81.6 points, Feel Like Letting Go. Let's go back to Daniel for that.
Feel Like Letting Go. This is the final song of the album. And, we went on this roller coaster ride with Peter, his love affair with this woman. He was alone in the beginning. He fell in love. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than me. Things were great. Then things started to fall apart. And by this time, it seems like he deals with the hardships that comes with a breakup. Even though you want things to work out, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Or can they find each other and create the same feel that they had in Nothing Better Than You, Nothing Better Than Me? And Out of Control is also a song where they're totally in love, three quarters through the album. But in this song, it seems like things have gone sour, but there's a glimpse of hope, and I always like that. There's a glimpse of hope in this song, the final song. Beautiful vocals, both in the soft parts and the harder parts in the song. And he ends by saying, "Feel like letting go, but my heart keeps saying no." So there's a glimmer of hope. Are they going apart, or maybe they can find each other once again and reignite the love they had in There's Nothing Better Than You and Out of Control? We don't know, but it's a perfect lyric for the end of the record. 24 points from me.
Yeah, I like it. It's another gem. It's Beatley, kind of Lennon-ish, for my kind of thoughts on it. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what I gave the score on this, but if I gave it a poor score, then I think I would have changed.
You gave it a very high score. You gave it a 24
Okay,
along
good.
with Daniel.
good, because to me, when I listen to this, with piano, I'm very touchy with that. Some bands, I think piano works terribly. Others, I think it works good. This is an example, I think, of where I like the piano treatment in this. It reminds me almost kind of like the epicness of something like a Meatloaf thing, almost, where it could be a very big sort of piano thing in there. And I think vocally, Peter is really good on this. I mean, we get into that raspy voice a bit more on this song. The backing vocals that are with it are really good. The guitar leads in there are really good. I think this song is a great example of a good closer, where I thought the beginning was kind of not a good idea to how it started. This was a great idea of how to end it. This was a great closer, I thought. Lyrically, I have no issues with it at all. The message is good. The message is believable. It's not one of these things where you start rolling your eyes again when you listen to it. Very well done. Production suits it perfectly. Again, I really like the guitar play. The piano and the guitar play on this are really good, and Peter's singing is just kind of like the icing on the cake with this.
Nice. Ken?
Yeah, it's kind of middle ground for me on this. Lyrics, I thought, I dinged it a little bit there, but melody, 3 out of 5, and my taste, 3 out of 3. The piano, to me, if you listen to it, especially at the beginning, it reminds me of Elton John, that they were going for there, a little bit like a Candle in the Wind kind of deal. That's what
with that.
That's what I get. No, it's perfectly fine, but that's what I get from that. It's a decent song, not my favorite, but not my least favorite either. It's in the middle.
Nice. I guess it's not surprising that this song ends up as the favorite of this panel today for this album on 85 points, the title track. Here's the demo rejected by Kiss.
Yeah. What a mistake.
So I am biased again by life experience with Peter Criss for Out of Control, and this demo in particular. Just imagine this on Dynasty.
Yeah.
Tightened up slightly. I have always preferred the demo again because of an emotional connection with the music. I've told the story about getting a reel for Peter's 79 demo, having it restored, recovered, baked, had to be respliced, and then sitting in the studio with an engineer as we ran tape and transferred it and have that booming over the studio monitors. And we'd had the demos circulating for years and years and years for Peter's stuff, but to hear every nuance, every little hi-hat or cymbal, every bit of touch and feel, I was just sitting like the Memorex kid. I love that freaking ad from the 80s because I've had so many experiences where I've been that person in the seat being blown away by the music that I'm hearing. So yeah, the demo. Mark, what about for you, the song?
Yeah, I mean, this being the number one song is a no-brainer in my opinion. It's really, really well done. It's interesting. I did a quick comparison before like last night, where I compared the demo and the original one, and it's interesting because the demo it goes like but the one on the album is the melody's a little different. It's like like they add a little kind of extra note, and the tempo is a bit slower on the album version, whereas the demo version is a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
Therefore, the vocals are a little bit more upbeat and more, ruckus and stuff like that. So I love the demo version. The album version, there's nothing bad. It's just, again, this is one of these things where the producer might have stepped in and said, well, Peter, I think you should add a little bit more to the riff and, add a little bit more, polish to it. And there again, it's still the same song in essence, but they kind of over polished it a bit. I thought if it was left a little bit more raw and left in its original state, I think it would have been really, really like stand out. And not that it isn't already, but I think it really would have benefited from a more raw approach to it, like on the demo. But overall, I think it's a great song, no matter which version.
How many points did you give it? How many points did Mark give that song?
Mark gave it 24. I gave it 24. You gave it 27, and Ken gave it 10.
And I think Mark made a great point there, where I hadn't thought of that before you said that, Mark. Really interesting that they added a thing to the main riff that kind of slowed it down a bit and slowed down the tempo. Because I also enjoy the demo a bit more than the one on the album, but I think this is the best song on the album. This should have been, the single. And what a mistake to not include this one on Dynasty. I think you could have done. It would have been great to have two Peter songs on Dynasty. Would have been great. I think it's his best vocals on the album. It would have been perfect for Dynasty. And when it comes to the concept, this is song number 6. So he's blinded by love, but he's starting to lose control somewhat. Imagining that the girl is starting to slipping away. As he says in the song, now I may be wild, still you drive me insane. You got me so crazy, I can't remember my name. And now that I've got you, don't you get out of hand, because you might be losing one hell of a man. So he's starting to see the crack in this relationship that the album is about. But he's blinded by love, starting to lose control. But when it comes to the musicianship on this song, I love the slides. There's cowbell on this one as well. The guitar solo is pretty similar to Ace's solos. I think is it called staccato, or what do you say, Mark? When you did it, it's sort of like a Firehouse solo on this one. Did it?
Yeah. It's very
So and somewhat similar to parts of the solo in Charisma. So this sounds like a Kiss song to me. That might be the reason why I love it so much. The best song on the album, kind of tied with "There's Nothing Better Than You," because I like that chorus so much.
It's funny, Daniel, because when you mentioned the conceptual part of this and the sort of theme in it, is this Peter Criss's "The Wall"? I mean, it's very almost like, and down that same path of like depression and, finding love to get him out of it and stuff like that. Was he going for a wall?
When was The Wall released? Was it late 70s?
79, 80, I think?
Yeah,
79.
I think he might have been influenced by that one, because to me it's clearly a concept album about falling in and out of love. It's so obvious, and I love the concept. It's a great concept, and this is the best song on the album. So I'm glad it ended up as number 1.
You mentioned crack. What were you drinking when listening to this album, Daniel? That's one of the most off-the-wall theories I've ever heard. Now I'm going to have to go and listen to this freaking album again.
There's nothing off the wall. It's the truth, and you all know it out there.
No, now I'm going to listen to it with new ears for the first time in decades. So it's
that's
going
great.
to be really. All right, before we wrap up with the last questions, someone did ask about the remixes. Now, Stan was selling some of the stuff from the studio in the 90s and circulating it. It's always a difficult circumstance for the artist to see their music being sold behind their back, not necessarily having control over it. So, he told me a story about how he and Peter would be sneaking down to remix the album because they didn't like how David Wolfert was mixing some of the songs. And I believe it's 6 songs do circulate. I think there are a couple of acetates that were sold as well with material. So for the next 3 minutes, here are some of the remix versions, and I'm just going to chirp about some of the differences on these as they play along. So hopefully you can hear.
Very cool.
This just removes some of the vocal call outs at the end. It's the end of the section.
Yeah.
And it's got more guitars.
Love the guitars. Awesome.
I can't remember
Whoa.
which one next.
Nice drumming there.
Just more strings.
Oh. Is this feeling like letting go?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
And that string flourish right there is what I'm talking about. But I get some guitar tone that reminds me of the guitar tone on Slash's solo on Estranged. There was just something.
You know I really care. And if you ever leave me,
All right, next up.
then you ever
So just more guitars at the end on that one.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Very rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's a kind of madness, never ends. Now you can lock the door.
So David Wolfert mixed out that guitar lead there that led from the verse to the chorus, and it does sound a little bit malformed in comparison with the rest of the work, but
So many times before.
Saxophone. Kill the saxophone.
just a different call out section as well, done vocally there. And then
Nice.
finally, let's find out. Words. A little bit different on the fade out, I think.
Oh.
Nice guitar at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little elements pop out there which make it, kind of interesting, that they'd put the effort into it. All right, final thoughts, guys. Daniel, what do you think of the overall strengths and weaknesses of Out of Control now that we've gone through the album?
I have a hard time finding any weaknesses. This is a way stronger album than I remember it from back in the day. But you have to give it a few listens. And you have to understand that this is a concept album about falling in love and falling out of love. And when you hear that, it's just a perfect arc. It's like a movie or like reading your favorite novel. It's such a beautiful told story. And I think that's one of the strong points that seems to have gone, people have missed it. So it's a very thought out album. People, they must have put some effort into, arranging the songs and putting them in the correct order, because it tells the story beautifully. And there are a few high notes, like Out of Control. I would have loved for that song to be on Dynasty. And There's Nothing Better Than You. Well, it was a Dynasty demo, but I don't think it would have fit the album. So it's good to have it on this album. And there's a few more other great songs, and no songs that really stink. So I think this is a solid album, and I think a lot of Kiss fans might have overlooked this album. So I would encourage you to go back, give it a shot once again. It is on Spotify. I think it's one of the few older Peter Criss albums that are on Spotify. But if you have Spotify, go and give it a listen. Take a run, listen to it, or play some computer games and listen to the album. I think you will be surprised that it's way better than you think it is. So give it another shot. My first applause. Yeah.
You earned it there. Mark, what about you? Strengths and weaknesses overall.
Well, I mean, again, this was my first real listen of the record, beginning to end. I have to 100% agree with Daniel that this record deserves more than one listen to it. It definitely needs more than, a few listens just to get it properly absorbed. I mean, even just now, having gone back and listened to a few moments here and there, I already realized that there was some stuff that appealed to me more than it did on first listen already. Again, the one thing about having written enough concept records myself for my own band, one thing I do realize is that as much as I love concept albums, the one thing that can be a little crippling with concept albums is that you are handcuffed to that story. So if you have to start a certain way, then sometimes you might have to write a ballad or a soft song to start it, which is not always the best way to reel someone into a record. So with that said, you have to very much keep that in mind when you're writing it. So while I may not like certain songs, how they are, but knowing now that it's more looked at as a concept record, for example, Daniel thinks it's a full-fledged concept record, then that order of song makes a lot more sense now in that thinking, right? So I think it's a very fascinating record. I mean, now more than it was before. I mean, I don't think anybody has gotten into the weeds that much as Daniel has as far as the concept of this record before. I've never heard it mentioned once, that theory of the record, but it is an interesting way to listen to it, and it does make it more interesting to see and to hear the production that they did to it, maybe because of that.
Yeah, for me, the strengths just outweigh everything else because of the emotions that are connected with songs and finding the album and moments in my life. I adore this album. I will always adore this album. This album makes me happy when I listen to it along with Peter's 1978 solo album. Yeah, call me a green Kool-Aid drinking fanboy if you wish, but I like it. It makes me happy. I did want to just read something. And this is from the liner notes from the Japanese release in 1980 that I've had. Well, I was going to say that I translated. No, I had ChatGPT translate. But it's actually pretty good. It was written by Masanori Ito for the Polystar release. And these are just some excerpted lines from that bio. This first solo album since leaving Kiss encapsulates everything Peter Criss wanted to achieve as a musician. His longing for the 50s and his first steps as a vocalist, I think as a solo vocalist, making for a truly intriguing album. Compared to his solo album from his Kiss days, Criss's progress and development are evident, and the content is incredibly rich. Peter Criss's old friend, Stan Penridge, who also collaborated on his solo album released in 1978, provided full cooperation on this album, and the pair demonstrate an exquisite chemistry down to the finest details, from the songwriting to arrangement. Unfortunately, the rock and roll dedication of his Kiss days seems to have faded, while there's no denying that the musical differences were behind his departure from Kiss. In a way, this solo album seems to clarify those differences. As was clearly evident in his previous solo albums, he harbors a deep longing for the 50s. However, in this album, he focuses on the finer details of the songs, attempting to evoke from the 1950s from within the overall mood. This difference in approach signifies the careful and calculated production of the album. Since the purpose of his previous solo album was apparently to organize the songs each member had written, it's difficult to compare it to this album, but at least the finished product is good. It could be said to be perfection itself. When it comes to drummer albums, there's no need to go back to past examples, and they tend to be drum-centric works. But Peter Criss's work is different. Like Ringo Starr, he lets us listen to his vocals first. In other words, here he is strongly aware that he is a vocalist before he is a drummer. What Peter Criss is expressing here is he is not only a drummer, but he is a musician. This album is filled with the sheer power of his uncontrollable ambition. I love Japanese translations.
Yeah.
I just thought the sentiments there were wonderful. Daniel.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that he wanted to be a vocalist, a lead vocalist. That was his main aim. And I know there's a batch of photos of him that hasn't surfaced yet, but where he's posing as a vocalist on stage in different outfits. So they had a plan of, and I also have heard that when they released this album, they planned a tour. I'm not sure if this is correct, but he was supposed to be a vocalist, not a drummer, during the tour. So that's a great thing they put out in that Japanese thing there. Seems right on the spot, because I think he imagined himself somewhat like a Frank Sinatra or Tony Bennett or something like that.
Yeah, he wanted to do Carnegie Hall. He was rehearsing a band. They were rehearsing. They were working it up. And it would have been interesting to have seen what he would have done. Is what I saw at the Cutting Room and the Australians, I think, saw in Melbourne, what it might have been of him up front with microphone in hand, singing some songs and then hopping behind the kit for a couple and swapping out with having a drummer. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care. I got to see an absolute magical night in New York for myself. But there we are. That is Refocused at 45 for Out of Control. It's been a real fun dive into that. I hope you've enjoyed some of the multimedia that's important to tell the story of Out of Control. But that's going to be it for this week. Hopefully next week, I'm not available. The guys will get together and have something to talk about. But for now, from Ken, from Mark, Daniel, and myself, thank you very much for joining us. And we shall see you next time.
You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.